Hey there, I'm Parker X. I led a product team for a startup that did $50 million in sales, and then we exited. Short after that, I tried my hand at my own startup in the music space, Airbnb for music. Pretty dumb idea. Then quickly realized I needed to be more technical. So for the last 2 years, I've been going all in on AI development. Well, maybe a little bit longer than that. And on these daily updates, I go through some of the different things that I'm trying in the field as I'm growing my AI services business to 100 grand a month. And it's crazy because there's just something new every single day. There's a lot of noise. So I hope that these videos can help you kind of separate the signal from the noise. So, first of all, I want to cover this is kind of a crazy thing. So, let me close this out. The fact that the Anthropic CEO has said that in the next 3 to 6 months, AI is writing 90% of the code. In the next 12 months, nearly all code may be generated by AI. I totally believe that because they are the ones that are writing the playbook on web development coding LLMs. Like they're just the best. I think that I talk about this a lot on this channel, but if you're new here, you basically have two camps for the LLMs, and one camp will be the planner. So, y- also, whenever you're separating things in AI world, always just think like, what's the task that I'm doing now, and how can we either replace that with one prompt and some training, or chain together some prompts. So there's obviously planning goes into software development, and then you have the actual execution or the coding. Execution slash coding. Okay, cool. Let's still learn how to use this pen. On the planning side, Claude doesn't touch other chain of thought models. Even their Sonnet thinking isn't quite as good. What I was using for a while was first O1 preview, now O1. But what seems to be the best now is actually Grok 3. And if you didn't know, this is the one that's put out by XAI, and it's fantastic. There's nothing like it when it comes to planning. And we're going to talk about it in a second because I found a really good, or I hope to be a really good prompt for writing PRDs. If you're not familiar with what a PRD is, basically outlines the what and the why of what you're going to be building. And then the how is the actual execution. So these roles that I just, or these camps that I just kind of wrote out, like this traditionally would have been done, like the job description for this would have been like a product manager, which is why I know a whole lot about this because on my other channel, I basically built a 5,000 person audience off the back of product management videos because I did product management. And when it comes to the execution and the coding, these, the JD for this would be software engineer, right? Or programmer. And when it comes to the leaders here, nothing can be touched on Sonnet's ability. Both, 3.5 kind of blew up, and then 3.7 is the new one. There's a lot of back and forth on which one is better, but I've been using this one recently, and it is fantastic as long as you have a good plan and as long as you're taking breaks where it's not just going to run rampant. That's why I think a tool like Klein is actually fantastic because it's task based. And I'll be reviewing my findings after building a bunch of stuff with it yesterday. But yeah. So I think this is probably true. I think that, it's we're getting definitely a lot closer. Now I want to go through some of these prompts that I found just literally in the last couple days. So the first one is this title prompt. So give me 8 minutes and I'll make your titles 81% better. Okay, cool. Hook. Not creating curiosity loops. So when you see stuff like this isn't necessarily a prompt, right? But if we look at it, you can kind of turn anything into a prompt. So let me make this a little bit larger. We're going to actually split screen this. We'll get a chat over here. I'm going to use Playground. Playground, if you're not familiar, it gives you a lot more versatility and control over your prompts. So we have the ChatGPT Playground on the right, and then we have this basically like one pager from somebody that we think is smart about writing really good titles. And so whether or not you make YouTube videos, you probably don't, but this process is kind of important and really helpful when you do find maybe something in a book or in a video or you hear it somewhere. You want to replicate it. It could be a business strategy, it could be how to cook, whatever. It's taking the source material and then kind of thinking through like, how do I turn that into a prompt? And then how do I turn that from a really crappy prompt into a good one? So, okay. So what I always start out with when I'm kind of iterating through a prompt is I'll use a reasoning model, but I'll do one that's quicker. So I might pick up like O3 Mini or let's use O3 Mini and I'll pop this open. So what this right here is a generator of prompts. So you can type in here instead of like scribbling one out in here and then going back into generate. Like this thing is specifically designed to make your prompts better. So you can work in here, but I always just end up typing in here. And I always start out to follow the best practices of writing prompts. You typically start with a role and then you give responsibilities, instructions, and then context and an example of what you want. So I'll start out with the role. I'm going to say you are a helpful YouTube title writing assistant. You are, and so that's the role. And then I'm going to give it some responsibilities. So I'm just going to say you are responsible for receiving a user or your producer's first draft of a working title for a YouTube video. You need, so I've given it like the role, it's high level responsibility. Now I'm going to say what a task is, and then I can get into the specifics here with some kind of guidelines and rules. I'm going to say something along the lines of you will receive one version and a one line description about what the video delivers, and you'll return 10 increasingly more clickbaity titles to engage a viewer who may not have clicked on the video to begin with. And I'm not worrying that much about perfecting it. Like this is a big run-on sentence, but that's okay because I can hit create. And now I want to start referencing the source material on the left. So, okay, mistake 1, not creating curiosity loops. So in this section, without even reading the next piece, I could be like rules. I could say create curiosity loops, right? But I want to actually read what the rest is, but I want to do this as an example. Use proven title frameworks. You can just see I'm picking up the mistakes and then I'm inverting them using weak generic language. So I'd say incorporate descriptive words into your titles that increase perceived value. What I probably could do is I could just take this and I'll take a screenshot of it. And then I'll open up a companion and I'm going to say, return this as text. And then I can just drop that in under the rules and then kind of edit it so you guys don't have to wait for me to type this out. And I just had a thought. As I'm making this video, what I will do is I can just clip pieces out of this. So this would be a video, and you're probably watching this on the main channel right now. This is how to make 10x prompts. Let's do it. So you start with the source material, right? And then you come in and you get a playground open. We have the playground here. We're writing within this generator, which makes them better. And we've dropped the source into a ChatGPT companion. Now we're reading through it. And we've given it the role, we've given it a responsibility, we've given it the expectations or like the purpose. And then now we're going through the rules. We're going to go ahead and drop. Oh, it looks like they fixed this. It used to be really bad when you copy and paste in here. So kudos to their devs for fixing that so it's usable. Let's drop this in here. So how to fix it? We have rules. I want to now create curiosity loops. Let's grab that. And we're going to just literally, all we're going to be doing is inverting the title. So I'm going to number these and then put the descriptions underneath them. So we can just make this easier on ourselves. Even top YouTubers don't create. Okay, grab that. We can remove these. Can drop that there. Let's grab using weak generic language. So we had we converted that where it said like use strong language? No, we hadn't done that one yet. So let's go to number 3. Use strong specific language. Specific language. Okay. Now let's drop this. We're going to say make it punchy, not overly wordy. And even this prompt, like you want to, when you're prompting, you want to compress the number of words that you're using. So I don't really like whenever I see ly, I kind of cringe because you don't really want to have adverbs in these. But I think this is a good first draft. And so what I'll do is before it is generated, I want to actually grab it, put it to the clipboard, and then I'll hit create. So what it's doing behind the scenes is they have a prompt that they're running, right? So it's going through and it's thinking and it's wondering, how do I make this better? As an example, actually, I'm curious to see if the generator itself will produce different variations based on the model and the reasoning effort. I would imagine that it's doing that. So let's just do title generator examples or prompts. And you can do this to basically just make your prompts better because prompts are gold. So, let's put this one in here. That's V1. And then we're going to put this in here. This is V2. Let's check it out. As a helpful YouTube writing assistant, your task is to create a draft title and a brief video description. Okay, so we don't actually want that. So we can remove this. But I do want to see. Let's try this once more. What we're testing is to see if the model selected in the reasoning effort. I know the reasoning effort will give different versions, but if I went from 03 to 01, if that'd be different. So let's go back in here. And we're going to edit this. And I'm going to put in let's see. I'm going to put something in here that basically just says what the inputs and the outputs are. So let's grab it, put it in here. We're going to say input a one-touch draft of a title of a YouTube video title and one brief description of the video so you know, or to provide additional context. And then output will be 10 increasingly clickbaity YouTube titles. So because we weren't specific about this, it thought that it needed to give us a description as well. So since we're here, let's crank this up to high because we want as much brain power on as possible. And let's paste it in here. Does that look good? Seems fine. I'm trying to think of a title for this video. 10x prompt workflow. Okay, your task is to serve as a helpful YouTube writing assistant by receiving a draft title and a brief video description, then generating 10 increasingly clickbaity titles to engage viewers. Utilize curiosity loops, proven title framework, specific language, and ensure the titles are punchy yet concise. Steps. Analyze the original draft. Good. 2. Create the loops. 3. This actually seems pretty fire. With each title following a trajectory. Yeah. Okay. It gave examples of outputs. See, that's pretty good. So I'd say that's a lot better than the original. So let me drag this over here and I'll say Parker's version, and I'll say that's 03 mini high version, and then I want to put in 01 version. Cool. And let's try this again. So I want to give it a fair shake. So I don't want to take this one and then throw it in 03, or sorry, 01, the most powerful one. So what I'll do is let's make sure we get this on the clipboard, which I think I already did, but I'm paranoid. I want to clear this. It is cleared. Okay. I want to go to 01. I want to go to high. I wonder if I bet they'll add like ultra high and they'll charge, $600 a month or whatever. And then I'm going to paste this here. So let's see the difference. And let me put, what might make it easier to look at is I'm going to wrap this, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to put these side by side so I can actually see what's going on. We're going to add a row. Top, there's my version, there's a 03 version, there's that version. We can delete this. Okay. And top, we're good. Got to make it look decent. Okay. Always make it look good. Got to. Okay. Now let's make a little bit of space. We don't want to not see them. So there we go. Okay. So now let's get the 03 or the 01. This to there. Now let's take a look. See what the differences are. So it's interesting to see. Oh, that's a spacing thing. Never mind. Let me wrap that. Okay. It's significantly shorter than the others. I wonder why. Now, this took what, like 5 minutes? And I would probably call this, like, if you're on a spectrum of, 0 to 10 on a line, my original one is probably like a 3. And jury's not out on which one of these is going to be better. So let's just test one out. I generally would think, just looking at it, the length of it doesn't always determine how great it is, but it's interesting to see that 03 Mini High is so wordy. So it's using, just at a glance, it seems like it's using a lot more like fluffy words. Understand the core. Like, this is just terse, right? It's like, okay, understand the core message of the draft title and video description to comprehend the video's content and purpose versus understand the core. No, it's the same. Oh, it's the width of it. Duh. That's funny. So these are pretty much identical. Never mind. Yeah, wow. That is like pretty much the same. So, okay. Let's grab this one and let's test it out. And we can move on to the next thing. So then we would, we already have this in here. Then I'm going to save this as a preset. So I would say YouTube title generator. Cool. Provide a draft YouTube title and one line description. You don't have to fill this out, obviously, but I have a few of them. And anyone with the link can view. Actually, I'll put this below. A little freebie. Cool. So now let's put in a draft. So in this video, I obviously am covering a lot of different things, but what would be an interesting thing? And probably something around idea of like 1, 2, 3, 4. I could say like the 4 prompts. 3 is better. So I'm going to say 3 killer prompts to get 100x output results with LLMs. Yeah, that's going to be a horrible title. But let's say like 3 prompts to get 100x results. Cool. Let's run that. See what it gives us. There needs to be Jeopardy music. If I was editing this, I'd put Jeopardy music right now. There should be a timer. I wonder why. They show you it afterwards, but it's taking quite a while. I guess I can start queuing up the next thing. So we just covered that. We're gonna see how we feel about the results. But now I want to talk about this stakes/guilt prompt, which sounds wild. But there's a paper put out by someone that's way smarter than me. And they basically covered it's on this website called Arvix, which if you're not familiar, it's a research paper website. But on Arvix, they talked all about I'm gonna scooch this over so you can see more of it until those titles come back. I can't believe how long it's taking, honestly. But that's besides the point. This guilt prompt thing basically came up because I was watching this Twitch live stream of these guys. They're a couple founders. They're these like 20 somethings that are like, you can kind of see them in here. Oops. You can see them in here like building and like Twitch live streaming where it's like the 0 to 1 million rev. How much time do they have left? Like it's a 90-day challenge or whatever. So they're just cooped up and coding. There's like a triple view of it. But they're talking about prompts. And one thing that they mentioned that he says is very good is the emotion prompts, which is essentially like putting stakes on the results of the output that you're getting. I found it really interesting because, you do hear rumblings of this on Twitter or if you're just talking to devs where they're like, yeah, you need to say like everything's on the line, like fix my React code or I'm going to lose my job, like these psychological things. And in it, you can see that a recent study claimed that they show basically better results. Gosh, I should have pulled the source for this, but you can see the difference, right? Like that's quite a difference in the prompt. If you do add some sort of like piece of psychological guilt where, if you just said determine whether an input word has the same meaning in the two input sentences, and then if you just put this one little thing on here where it's like it's important to my career, the outputs are going to be a lot better. I think it was 20% on the piece there, but you guys can do the math. I don't do public math. But I found that really interesting, and what I ended up doing is I kind of went and took that and then made a prompt out of it. So I said, generate a list of realistic historical threats like this. And then I gave an example of what the guy on the Twitch stream said, where he's like using an example of like, if you don't figure out this problem, all of these native indigenous people are going to die and their forest is going to catch on fire, which is like so absurd, way, way more extreme than like it's important to my career. But he said it works. So I'm like, okay. And I actually went and did it. And I'm like, whoa, this does work. So this is a ridiculous one, but it's like, here's some realistic historical threats framed similarly. The great library of Alexandria is burning. You're working with scholars and scribes to preserve the most advanced knowledge of the ancient world. If you don't find a way to save it, centuries of progress will be lost. So your prompt would basically be something like this at the beginning, and then you'd put in what you normally would. So just for fun, let's add it to this and let's stack and see what happens. So, okay, it gave me one word change on the first, not that great. Boost your output, 3 must try hacks, pretty good. Unlock 100x results with these 3 ChatGPT gems, probably works. 3 ChatGPT secrets that skyrocket productivity. Triple your ChatGPT power with these 3 moves. What if you knew these 3 game changing GPT prompts? Don't miss. I hate this phrase, but I do see it everywhere, so it must work. So the 3 ChatGPT prompts experts refuse to share. Your mind will blow with these three chat. That's a tough phrase. 3 ChatGPT hacks that change everything. Try them now. So that's pretty good. I would probably go back to the drawing board on this and like give it additional kind of feedback of like, hey, I don't use these words. So just for the fun of it, we're gonna throw in this guilt trip and at the very end, because that's what they did in the paper. So I'm gonna say the by the way, or actually I'm just gonna put that in. If we don't get a title that generates 1 million views, the library burns down. Okay. So quite the threat. But let's say that, and then I'm gonna put in notes or avoid or words to avoid. I want to just put in like blow. I think there was another word, but now I can't even think of it. That's how silly I am. Okay, let's just put that in there. Let's see. Let's run it. So now we have a prompt that's been run through and generated by AI to optimize it using the generate tab. And we've thrown in a historical threat. What I will do is I'll put these below. So they'll be on my website. I'll put a link. And I'll start posting on the website. What I can do is I'll just put the whiteboard drawing and then the resources. So let me add a to do for that whiteboard link, or I'll add daily upload page to site. That'll be one. What else? Add the whiteboard link, the YouTube playground link or prompt link, and the historical threat scenario link to new daily upload page. Okay. And that should take probably 20 minutes, maybe 15 minutes if I get lucky with Klein. Cool. So let's see what it came back with. Still working. It's wondering. It's like, oh man, I really wanted to use the word blow, and oh, I really don't want the Library of Alexandria to burn down. Oh man, we're already at half hour. Okay, I gotta get moving. So we did this one. Now there's this book prompt which I'm pretty interested in. We covered this. The book prompt is not in here, but for my school, which if you didn't know about it, we teach people how to use AI. We have 3 new membership requests, but in my school, oh, we have 4 now. Cool. I want to basically start putting out different products that are both paid and free. And the way that I do that is there's this like classroom thing, and I've already put in a bunch of stuff in here, like some of the prompts that I use. But I don't like that I have to kind of go in here and update it. So I probably will make some sort of automation that does that or host it on my website. But what I want to do is for this ChatGPT course, I'm curious what it would look like as a freebie for people that I could post on like shorts, or it's like a quick ebook. And I hate that word, but they do work. And I just don't want to write one myself, but I know all the stuff. So what I found was this set of prompts that this girl Nelly posted about, where she said, "Hey, like I use ChatGPT to write a book," which I think is pretty cool. And I like that it's 12 prompts. Why do I like that it's 12 prompts? Because if I just tried to one shot this and have it try to write the outline and all these things, I mean, it just wouldn't work. Like the quality deteriorates quickly. Yeah, like even some of the best models, like this brings up a good topic of like context window sizes. So generate a table of the context window sizes for all the state of the art models. Make sure to include Grok 3, make sure to include GPT-o1, GPT-o3 mini high, Anthropic Claude Sonnet 3.5, Anthropic Claude Sonnet 3.7, Gemini Flash thinking, and any others that are relevant. On the table, make sure to include the name, the input token size, output token size, cost per token, and two other columns that you think are relevant to someone who is analyzing the performance of models. That last bit that I just said is actually really, really helpful, where you can ask it for all these things, but then if you don't know what else you want, you can just say, think of some columns. And you want to make sure you have deep research on. So advanced search and reasoning, boom, cool. Because then it'll go and scrape and figure stuff out. But the problem that I'm trying to no way, that's where okay. So the problem with not doing it on like or the problem is if you didn't have 12 prompts, then and you'll see in this table in a second, then it just would break down, right? So instead, like this has a brainstorm and outline prompt. So write a book about blank for a target audience. Help me brainstorm unique angles and create a detailed chapter outline. So we're going to do this together real quick. We're going to try to write an ebook and set a clock for 5 minutes. Let's see how fast we can go. Cool. So let's grab this. And we're going to speed run a book. Let's speed run a book together in 5 minutes. This is a new YouTube video that I'm going to repurpose. So we're going into ChatGPT. We're going to open up O3 Mini High because I think that it's going to go faster and we need to do it. So we're going to make a book about ChatGPT for professional knowledge workers who are new to AI. Cool. So we did the first one. Let's pull up the second one in here. And I can link to this below. So while that's going, I think these are going to be dependent on one another. Yeah. So deep dive into key themes for this outline. Yeah. So unfortunately, we might not hit the 5 minute mark. It depends on how fast OpenAI can go. But we've got the unique angles for the book. ChatGPT is a collaborative partner. It makes sense. I can reference how I did this right now. I'm just going to say that I should probably just grab all this for the sake of time. Yep. This looks like a great outline. Loving it. And we need a deep dive into the key themes. Cool. So now fresh chat window, O3 Mini High. We're going to put the output of this. And I'm going to say here is the outline. And I'm going to grab these. And I'm going to say for this outline, oh, okay, I was supposed to put it here. So let me grab that, put that there, delete this, grab that, paste it here. If we write a book in 5 minutes, I'm going to cry. That'd be so cool. Okay, we are on O3 Mini High. Cool, fire that off. What's the next one? Character and narrative framework. Develop the main characters, the narrative arcs. I don't need that because this is an educational product. It's not going to be like, oh, here's Jim from this story. Actually, that could be good because you could have an avatar. But because we have 3 minutes on the clock, I don't think we're going to do that. What about the kickstart each chapter, engaging chapter, use a tone that is desired? Yeah, we do need introductions, so that makes sense. We do need bulk drafting. Using the outline and the key themes, draft the main content of the chapter. Oh, got it. Bulk drafting. So what I could do now that I have the outline is I'm going to pull up a spreadsheet and we're going to add in book. No time for that. Expanded breakdown of the key themes. Yeah. So that key themes, paste, oops, paste. And then let's wrap that. Now let's grab outline. Put that on the left. Outline. Oh, that's unique angles. Unique angles. Cool. Wrap that. Good. Oh, come on. Okay. And then what's the next step? Kickstart each chapter. Write an engaging chapter for chapter one about specific topic. It looks like she's doing it in the same one, which I wouldn't recommend, but let's just see if we can't get a chapter one. Oh, about specific topic. Now we need to open up one more. We might get one chapter of a book in 5 minutes, which is good. So write an engaging chapter for chapter one. Which one is chapter one? Chapter one is the evolution of AI and knowledge work. So let's grab that. Use a tone that is 75% Spartan tone, 25% conversational bar tone. And in 5 minutes, we've gotten an outline for a book. We've gotten the key themes, the unique angles, and our first chapter, if we can get it in 3 seconds. Yeah, so this would probably be like a 10-minute video. I'm going to stop this. There we go. Setting the stage. Now we've got our introductions. So I guess for each one, you do chapter one, and then maybe, I guess how I would set this up is I do like chapter one, I do like introduction, and then the actual body content. So we have the intro, we'll wrap that. I just want to make one bulk drafting using the outline and the key themes, draft the main content. So yeah, I see that she's not mentioning that, you know, using the outline and the key themes. You would want to have these be separate. So I'm going to do that for the sake of one of them. And let's make maybe one window does work. Let's try it. Using the outline, draft the main content for chapter one. Okay. And in that case, I'm going to actually grab the introduction that we just did. Where was that? Oh, it's here. Okay. So in here, I will say, great. Here is the working introduction, chapter one. Yep. And then we'll say using the outline of the key themes. This was the key themes. She's using different words for it, which is confusing. So I'll put that there. And then I'm also going to give it the outline. Outline. Okay. Oops. Write a book about. Okay, that's the outline. Oh, unique angles and outlines there. Great. Never mind. Let's see. See what comes out of here. So we'd get a chapter. You'd basically go through each one of those. You'd fill in the gaps. What's cool about this is you could probably make this into make automation. Like you could, yeah, that would be nice, right? So like as an example, in her like her tweet, there's all these different prompts. And as you're seeing it on the page, they're vertical, but these are literally, this is just a node. Like, it's a process step in a map. So what you would do is instead you would have like an AI node. And then in that node, you would give it all the detailed instructions of what you're wanting. And instead of doing it all at once, like, if she has 8 of these, then it'd be, 8 I don't need to draw all of them, but you'd have all of these, and then you'd be writing it out to a G sheet like I'm doing right now, and you'd tweak it a little bit until you got it to the language that you wanted, and then you'd be off to the races where you could literally have a pipeline that writes books for you, which that could be the move. So let's read this and then go on to the next thing. Setting the stage. Welcome here to chapter 1. Here we trace the relentless march of AI into the heart of the knowledge work. Da, 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 da. So I'm already bored by it. So I would probably feed this a PDF. Like there's this really good one called Shape Up by Basecamp, but I would feed that as an example and I'd say, use this. So that's something that I might explore later because, yeah, like this is a 12 step, and this would just be 12 nodes with 12 AI nodes, and then between each one you'd have a stopgap that's writing to the G sheet. But that's a cool idea. So up next we have the PRD Grok prompt. I'm gonna save this one for tomorrow because I want to test it before I talk about it. I don't think that you want to sit through. I actually, frankly, just don't have time to go through it right now. But we'll move that to 312.25 content is the PRD. So this one's canceled. Lastly, I want to go through some of the growth numbers real fast, and then my first impressions on Klein. You want to stay for this because it's just maybe the best coding tool out there. It's kind of crazy. So in terms of growth, I think I mentioned it earlier, but we got a bunch more members. I think in one day, we more than doubled the number of people that are joining this. It's free right now. I'm going to close it in a couple days and it will be paid, but we've got some people chatting in here, which is cool. We had 13 comments. Most of them are me, just to be clear, but it's because we're just getting us off the ground. We've got 4 different people. It looks like front end dev. We got someone from the Netherlands, someone from UK, someone from India, another person from the UK. That's pretty cool. And you can see right now that's just like this AI 101 boot camp where there's like some basic info on here. I think it's, this is like my first go at making stuff in there. But this is growing. So we've got 20 people and this happened like the last 3 days. And then that's on the school side. So I should probably add a thing. I don't care at all about LinkedIn. I just don't. But let's say March 11th, we're at 20. Cool. Yesterday we were at 16. The day before that we were at 7. The day before that we were at 0. So we've gone from 0 to 20 in 4 days. So that's cool. And then on this daily upload channel, let's just see what's going on. I know we initially got some actual like viewership, which was cool. And then on my main channel, it's funny because like I've been posting and nothing is performing, and that's okay. I'm not worried about the day to day. I'm worried about just the fact that I'm doing it because I'll make the videos better and better. But it is kind of crazy because I have a much larger audience, but it seems the audience that I did build was a bunch of people from like 4 years ago that were maybe going to become a product manager. So that's just a very different audience from what I'm now attracting, which is like mass audience, newbie content partially, and then like niche developer content. So I'm going after like 2 pillars right now to test, and then I'll see after 90 days what one to really double down on. But yeah, kind of crazy in terms of like performance. Let's see, 269 views in the last 48 hours, most of which are off of one cursor video. So I keep saying that I should probably make more cursor videos. So probably do that. But yeah, so let's plug this in 5454. And it looks like, yeah, steady, literally not even a single sub overnight. Kind of crazy. But then now if we look at this other one, I'm curious to see where it's at. This channel started like 4 days ago. Now we're at 29. That's pretty cool. So yeah, we got more view. We got 600 views on this new channel. So thanks for listening to me yap because that's almost double the amount of the main channel. So something is interesting, people. And let's drop that in. The daily YouTube, it looks like on March 11th. Yeah, so we're about to double the numbers on the new channel too. which obviously they're smaller numbers, but the views are higher. So that's cool. And other stuff, other growth numbers don't really matter. I think those are really the ones that I'm caring about. I don't know if I want to include revenue, but I am kind of on this like road to trying to hit 100K, but we're not close to that. It's like I got to 20 and change, but it was big client, low leverage. So then I revamped the type of leverage that I wanted to apply so that I could do more of them and have it be better. So now, we're about half of that. So, anyways, the last thing is on Klein. And this is what you should stick around for if you're a developer, which I imagine you are. Is Klein is I talked about this in a previous video that you probably haven't seen, but Klein kind of led the pack on the innovation within AI developer tools. So what do I mean by that? I mean that the things that they built, all the other people copied. Fast follow, Snapchat releases stories, Instagram releases stories, YouTube releases stories, LinkedIn releases stories. That's the same thing. Klein releases an agent that recursively goes through things. So you ping it once and it goes through all the things. That didn't exist in other tools. They copied it. And one thing that I've really liked about coming back to this tool recently is this right here, which you can't see. Let me move this over. Is this little button down here that is really, really small, but it says plan and it says act. And plan mode, Klein will gather information to architect a plan. In act mode, Klein will complete the task immediately. And this plays into the whole paradigm around context windows and the accuracy slash efficiency slash effectiveness of AI models working on smaller, more specific context windows. So task-based work. Think of it in terms of tickets if you're a dev, but these flows that you go through, you basically give it a thing and then it will go through said task and it will give you all the stats as you're going. And then it will basically like complete the loop. So once it thinks it's done with the task, it's like, cool, good job. And it doesn't want you to continue talking there, which is a really good marker for people. So as an example, we're going to do one where I am going to make the page that will have all the contents from this. We need to create a page for daily uploads, perhaps a category on the blog. Let's make a category on the blog page called daily uploads. And on that category type, we need a specific. No, we don't. We don't need a specific template. I was thinking if we needed a specific template for the blog posts to be able to host all the resources of this, but we don't. That's extra work. Just add a category called daily posts to our blog. And the ability, no, that's literally all we need. So I'm going to cut everything that was not specific to this. And I'm going to say, add a category called daily posts to our blog. Cool. And what I'm starting out in is plan. So it's not going to write anything. It's read only. It's going to go and try and read stuff. One other part I like is I can select which model I want. You can do that in a lot of tools, but I just like it in here. And there you go. At the top, you can see what the task is. So everything's task-based. You can also see the comparison of this before and after. You can restore it in the timeline. So right now it's going through. It wants to read the file. I've already set up auto approve for things. So you can open this up and you can say auto approve for read, write, commands, browser, MCP, all these things. I just let it fly because I actively am watching it. Vibe coding is a bad thing because you are just not reading the outputs. They're just maybe glancing at this, but I know what to do. Because I know what to do, if it's not the right answer, then guess what? Try again. So here's a straightforward plan for adding a new daily post category. Create a new category in the categories table. This will be done by doing a simple sequencer. Yep, that makes sense. Using the dashboard or an admin route. Okay. An admin route would be nice, but once the categories and categories front-end code will automatically generate it. Okay. So then what I'm going to do is that's literally the fastest path. So I'm just going to do a Supabase DB Hull. The Supabase running. It is. So let me see what that looks like right now in our production one, the one that's live on the site. Because we could just get away with that. Where let's go into here. Let's go into database. Let's go into, or sorry, table editor, categories. We need to give one an ID that should be auto-generated. Yeah, let's just insert one. Easy enough. I don't even have to code anything. That's the best. That'll auto-generate because it has default gen random none. And then I'll just type in daily upload. Yep. And then it's going to default to now, and we can just save. Cool. And I should probably capitalize it so it looks nice. Save the change. That didn't save the change. Cool. Now if I go to parkerx.com/blog, that's going to be broken. But yeah, now there's daily uploads. Cool. Easy peasy. Didn't have to code anything. That's the best. Had I gone down that route, it would have taken longer. So always do the thing that's the quickest. But if it did require coding, this would give me the plan. And if I, like it just did, I would just click on act. And then it would actually go and take the context of that plan and then give it to the coding LLM, which I don't want to start one there. But if I did this, then you can see I have the specific model for Anthropic. And then in terms of usage, this is always the question, and a lot of people don't talk about it, is like how expensive or cheap are these? So I was flying through credits because I bought $25 worth of credits 6 days ago. And I want to say most of these were through Claude Code. Not very efficient. I feel like it does a lot of stuff where it's just lighting tokens on fire. Not good. But with this, you kind of, you see what's going on. So O1 will always be the most expensive. So that was probably, you use discretion, right? Where it's like, for this simple thing, this is a poor example. I kind of knew to go to the database, but for the video, I want to put it up. I probably should have just not done a planning session because that'll always be more expensive, right? Because it's an expensive one. But if I went into here, I can see it cost me 80 cents because I was testing out Plan and Act, but it cost me 80 cents to update a bunch of styles, like all the fonts and the pros versus H1s, yada, 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 but less than $1. Let's find a cost efficient one. What was this? Cost 11 cents to basically go through and fix all the styles on the site besides fonts. So a dime. When's the last time you cared when you dropped a dime? But yeah. And then lastly, I think that's kind of where we're going to wrap up. Just the plan for the day. If you're curious, some of the stuff we're doing on this roadmap to the 100K a month is we are obviously like completing client work. We are doing a potential like cross sell planning. So if you do a good job on the first thing, they're going to wonder, well, what else is possible? And if they're not wondering that, then you can let them know when you do the handoff. So that's some of the stuff. It's like part A. And then part B will be some of the it's not conversion rate optimization, but for doing outreach and scaled outreach, you need an Upwork account that basically the titles / descriptions of your profile need to look fire. So that'll be one of them. And then actually scaling personalized outreach is one. So there is a make.com automation that will go after. So in orders of importance, let's say B1, this will be B3. B2 actually is 10 personalized videos. What I'll be doing is basically going through the postings because those are people that are very warm. They know exactly what they want. And then checking out all their stuff, understanding the problem that they're having, because they might be writing for something, but then if the work is public that you're going to be working on, you can go look at it and you can find some discrete thing somewhere that looks more off or something that you can mention in said video, then they're gonna be like, wow, this guy cares. So that's on the docket for today. If you found any value out of this, I know we covered a lot of ground, right? In the last 56 minutes, we went from a bunch of different like guilt prompts about burning Library of Alexandria to making a title generator to actually adding some stuff to the blog so you can get these things for free to writing a chapter of a book in like 7 minutes. We did a lot. So if you stuck around, you're awesome. I appreciate you, and I will see you in the next one. Make sure you check out the school because it's going to lock itself after 25 members, and then it'll be probably low ticket, like $50 a month. But make sure you check that out and ask any questions that you have below. I'm going to add a section to this video where I just answer questions when I start getting them. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.